Hello everyone, welcome to Jen's Fitness Center. I am making a special video as per your guys' request, but it is also a celebration because I would like to announce to you I am officially employed by Bells of Steel. So congratulations to me and thank you everyone for your encouragement and support. So let's get into it. I'm just going to go through some of my favorite pieces here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll do the best I can. We will start here. One of the more boring pieces of equipment. This is my seated calf raise, also where my scrunchie hangs out. So not that I'm going to give you a tutorial for every single thing, but obviously you have a pretty good idea how this works. I don't usually film myself doing this because I do it at the end of my workouts. But yeah, it's basically like this. I don't do much volume for this, but because I basically never trained calves in my life, I do notice that my calves have actually started growing just from doing like 2 sets a week. Fun fact, one time I was at a gym, Crunch Fitness. Some guy asked a girl to spot him on the seated calf raise. Okay, Luna, you can come down. Anyways, that's my dog. She wants to leave, but she'll be loud and yappy if we do things with the door. Anyway, so more boring here. This is where most of my dumbbells hang out. I have from 5 pounds up to 60 pounds. I put the larger ones just randomly around here, but this is where most of them hang out. Boring things here, like my beaver, Star Trek, and this is where just some of my random stuff hangs out, like elbow sleeves from when I was powerlifting, my ab wheel, and my big pile of chalk. This is a lat pull down attachment. I don't use that one anymore because I upgraded to these really cool handles. Again, people have mentioned they've noticed these, want to know how I feel about them. I love these. I don't know if you guys ever used to experience, if you're doing back movements, getting into closer to failure, if you feel your forearms starting to fatigue. That pretty much doesn't happen at all when I use these, just ergonomic. I love them. I have 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. So great lat pull down attachments if you're in the market to spice things up. I will also tidy up here. This is just a movable bench. It's very light, and I use this for my Bulgarian split squats. And when I was powerlifting, this is the bench that I used to do bench press because this one here was too heavy to move around and put in my squat rack. But we'll get to that one later. So this is just my regular bench. This is what you have seen featured in my leg day videos. This is my belt squat 2.0. This one is, of course, from Bells of Steel. So, again, I get a lot of people asking me about this, a lot of comments about this. Yes, I find this worthwhile. I love this piece of equipment. Yes, it does take up a fair amount of room, and yes, it's not like it's super cheap, but here's the thing. If you're thinking about buying a belt squat, you kind of have to ask yourself, how effective are just regular barbell squats for me, and do I think that I could use this in terms of like my goals, leg development, that kind of thing? Because I have grossly long femurs that I've talked about a lot, again, when I was more powerlifting. Regular back squats always felt really awkward to me. I don't think they reached my full potential of leg development, whereas when I use this belt squat, it's all leg. I feel like my legs have grown quite significantly since just doing the belt squat and not doing back squat, and I can do a ton of volume on this. Recovery is really good because there's not so much stress and overall body fatigue. So I love this piece of equipment. You'll just have to kind of decide if this is something that's worth the space and worth the budget. So this, alrighty. Hi, sweetie. Oh, I want to see if she's going to do a trick. She thinks that when I hang on this, it's belly rub. That's what she thinks that means. I'm just going to see if she does it here. I'm just going to see if she does the trick. Sorry if it rubs the microphone. Okay, let's see. Look. Okay. Look at that. She thinks hanging here means belly rub. Make sure you get a close-up of this. Oh my gosh, I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but it's like a trick or something. I guess this is the only trick she knows. Hang on the pull-up bar means belly rub for dogs. Okay. She's just gonna stay there for a while. I can't look because I'll have to help her. Alright, So this is my squat cage. I used to just have a half rack from Squats Rack Canada. May they rest in peace. That business doesn't exist anymore. So I really like this. Y'all, this was just a couple $100s. I got it on sale. I was like Black Friday or something like that. And really big selling point for me was I really wanted like a thinner multi-grip pull-up bar handle. Obviously as well too, I purchased this when I was more into powerlifting. So I wanted a cage for more safety and instead of just the half rack that I was using. So now you might think, oh no, like she's not powerlifting. How often do you use it? I still love it. I still use a lot of the extra features versus just having a half rack. Obviously, I spend a lot of time just hanging from that pull-up bar. I love being able to use these dip handles to do things like Bulgarians where I can hold on to things. Overall, I'm very, very happy. It was so worth the cost of it, and obviously because it was pretty cheap. But one thing I will say is this is 2x2 uprights, and 1-inch holes, and there's a lot of fun attachments and accessories that you can put onto your squat cage. Unfortunately, it all seems to be for things that are bigger than the 2x2 uprights, so all the fun things I want to buy don't fit with this. For example, there is a Smith machine rack attachment made by Bells of Steel that's not that expensive and is very easy to put into your squat cage, so you can kind of do both. It's for 2.3 by 2.3 up to 3 by 3. So it won't work in mine is the bottom line. And there's a lot of other fun things like that the 2x2s I just can't buy. So again, if you're thinking about getting a squat cage, make sure you think about potential future attachments you may want to buy and if your squat cage will be compatible with that. But I mean, other than that, obviously I spend, half my life in here, and it's a good quality despite how cheap it was. So can't complain too much, but I'm pretty good at complaining, so I do quite well in that regard. Okay, moving on here. Actually, we'll do my bench over here. So if you want to come a little bit closer over here. This is my buzzsaw bench, adjustable bench from Bells of Steel. This is a real heavy-duty piece of equipment. So you can see here, there's obviously quite a bunch of settings here. Again, it's so heavy-duty. I really like it. Hold on a moment, I'm just going to stop this video. This is my buzzsaw bench with a lot of different adjustments. Like I said, very heavy duty, but as I mentioned before, it is very heavy duty, so it's hard for me to just kind of move around freely. It would be great if I found it easier to move, because then I would probably do some different things, like maybe barbell incline press or whatever it is. It's just too hard for me to maneuver, so wherever it stays is where it stays. Though I have rearranged my gym from time to time, and moving this around, believe it or not, was probably the hardest thing. Moving this was harder than moving my belt squat. So moving this was harder than me moving my reverse hyper. So this one, I usually prefer that it's happy where it is because I am not happy moving it. But anyways, it's a great piece of equipment. Obviously, I do a ton of stuff on here, just from any kind of presses to just using it as, oh, sorry, I kicked you, I'm sorry, to doing dumbbell rows and everything in between. And, of course, great feature is that I can do my leg extensions on here. I got this as an add-on. It doesn't come with it, but you can certainly add it on or buy it in the future as well, too, if you decide. So it's great for leg extensions. And I fit quite well on it. So sometimes the leg extension machines at regular gyms, I'm too short for them. So fun fact, I am 5'0". So there's lots of times when I just feel like even on the smallest setting for my leg extensions, it's a little bit awkward for me. But you can also go around this way and do lying leg curls. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Sorry again if the microphone gets fuzzy. Okay. But anyways, you get the idea. Lying leg curls here. Oh, it's very weird feeling when there's no weight on it. So you can see it kind of like kicking me or whatever. But you get the idea. Really, really makes this worthwhile because of all the different things that you can do on it. It's better to me to have this with the attachment curl with it, because otherwise then you'd need two pieces of equipment that would then take up additional space, because having a separate leg curl, leg extension machine usually takes up a fairly big footprint size. But either way, it was worth every penny. I'm happy with it. I feel like it's going to last 3 decades. Oh, I think I mentioned this is also from Bells of Steel. Moving on here, this is what I prefer to call leg spreader, leg squisher. Just because it's easier for me, I have to actually very, very slowly stop to think about the correct terminology. So you can tell I was never the most professional personal trainer, but that is, I just don't like those words. Anyways, you know what these are. So I do this a lot for like really, really high reps to help with activation and this sort of thing. I do prefer a little bit of like a forward lean. Some people prefer to be more upright. I also seen Brett Contreras advocate for doing it like this, where you have the pelvic tilt and doing it like this. I honestly like switch it up like that quite a bit because it feels slightly different places. Some feel a little bit easier, so sometimes I'll do like a mechanical drop set and do like the harder one first, easier one second. And of course it goes like this, and you can rotate these so then you can do the leg squisher, but I don't do that as much. It's almost as infrequent as me doing my calf raises. So also down here in this corner is my lovely chest supported row. I also really like this piece of equipment. I prefer to actually stand and do it like this because I found when I was sitting, again, it could be just a height thing. I'm a little bit short torsoed. When I was doing it sitting, I felt like the row was like up a bit too high up here and didn't necessarily target exactly where I wanted to target. So almost every time I'll do it standing, and sometimes I'll do one arm at a time, and sometimes I'll do two arm at a time. And these handles move, so you can kind of do that really, really nice feeling squeeze rotation on it. This I got from Fitness Avenue. It was also only a few $100s. I use it very, very frequently. Some people may say with a home gym you're wasting money just to get something that only trains back. I don't know. I like it. If I do dumbbell rows too often, they kind of make my back feel a little bit tired. I don't want my lower back to fatigue as I'm trying to destroy my upper back. Just something. Here's a random little stool that I have. This is what I do to sit on as I use my cable machine, which I forgot to talk about, but that's okay. We'll do it at the very end. This is my reverse hyper from Westside Barbell. You may or may not have seen me use this. I primarily use it as kind of like a warm-up activation, or even at the end as sort of like a cool down, because it sort of helps with spinal decompression and that kind of thing. It's obviously not something that I think is going to contribute to massive amounts of posterior chain growth, because the maximum weight on this is like 175 pounds or whatever. So I haven't reached that at that point, but it's nothing where I go too insanely heavy. I also don't want to use too much momentum. So for me, it's really, really good just as like activation and that kind of thing, warm up and what have you. Over here, if you want to come around here, I just want to show you some of my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things. These are my barbells, and because I love you guys, I am going to do something that's going to exhaust me, which is take out my camber bar. But anyway, these are a few of my different barbells. This is my regular power bar. This is the one that I use 90% of the time. This is just a deadlift bar. The knurling on this is super intense. They call it volcanic or something. Volcanic knurling. Unfortunately, I bought this about a week before I decided to quit powerlifting. So I literally used it for 2 workouts, but it was great. It's a little bit more narrow, so for my tiny woman hands, my grip was way better. That on top of the knurling. This is just a woman's Olympic barbell. This is the first one that I used before I got this one. Really, actually, very different feel. I was much stronger when I switched to this one. So now I pretty much use this one just sticking it in my landmine because it's lighter. This is my light hip thrust bar. I got this from the Brett Contreras store. It's obviously thicker. It's only 15 pounds. It's shorter, and I was using it back when I used to do barbell hip thrusts. And this is, of course, just a basic easy bar that I got from Amazon. And this, I wish I had done this before I started the video. Maybe I won't take it all the way out. We'll see. It's going to be too hard to take out, you guys. As you can tell, I don't use this anymore. But this is my camber bar. Oh, I'm getting it. Alright, I'm getting it. Oh, curse you all. I will have to put this away when we're done. Anyway, I'm getting it. So this, I recommend getting... Alright, okay. I recommend getting, if you have a nice place to put it. I did it! Alright, this is my camber bar. So this is a really, really awesome specialty bar where the posts move and the weight is much more over mid-foot. Alright, Luna, you're going to have to move here. You're going to have to move. Alright. I'd love to show it to you guys in action, but I need to adjust the safeties first. Anyways, so you can see it, how it looks here. This, as I was saying, the movable posts, this is probably the one squat bar that I used that made my squats feel not absolutely ridiculous, because of how long my femurs are in relation to my tibia. So I had the worst squat leverages known to man, so I always felt like my squats were like a 2 or 3 part movement, and it was extremely awkward and unpleasant. They just never felt like they were supposed to feel, or how the world made it seem like they were supposed to feel. So then, what setting should I put this on? Magically, I got this camber bar, and squats started to feel like less of an abomination. So I'll show you what I mean. Again, I don't do regular squats right now, but if I were to put them back in my routine, this is probably the only bar that I would use because it's the only one that doesn't feel ridiculous with squatting. But again, sorry if it rubs the microphone. Like this, and like this. See, like this, you can see how like the weight is distributed more just naturally over mid-foot like this. Yeah, this feels great. I love this specialty bar, even though right now I'm not using it. Again, if you're in the market for a specialty bar, you kind of have to decide your goals and what you might think works best. If you have really long femurs, you might want this one. A lot of people talk about the SSB bar. I used to own an SSB bar, but I sold it. It was always like a elbow rub on thigh issue. So I just found it awkward to have my arms out front like this. I also didn't feel as much upper back tightness as I would where I can hold the bar back here. But lots of people love the SSB bar. Quick note before I say goodbye. Random cheap cable tower from Amazon. But when we're talking about specialty bars, I did own a transformer bar. If you know anything about that, they're about $1,200. For me, personally, it was a huge waste of money. I didn't really like one setting in particular. It didn't feel like a magical squat. This did feel like all of a sudden a magical squat to me. Nothing in the transformer bar to me was like, oh my god, this bar is going to change my life. It's just like a really, really overpriced SSB bar. Yes, you can set it to goblet. Yes, you can set it to low bar. Yes, you can set it to hinge. I just felt like I like doing good mornings with my straight bar. I didn't really like the SSB bar, so I didn't want that setting. The goblet squat just felt like a hard SSB. I didn't like it. I sold it. I obviously lost out on a ton of money from that. But if you're somebody that like obsessively wants to build up your squat from like hardest setting to easier settings, and you're going to use every single setting with every single difficulty, then maybe you would like that barbell. For me, it was one of those purchases that I regret. But as I sign off here, I'd like to thank my mom for filming and Luna for being patient, even though she wants to leave. But I end with a question to you guys. I get $1,000 of Bells of Steel bucks to spend at Bells of Steel once I start, of course. I don't know exactly when that kicks in, but I will have $1,000 to spend there. So I ask you guys, what do you think I should get? I think it's pretty apparent that I don't really have any room. But if I'm not really using something, I could potentially fold something up or put something somewhere else. But it's $1,000. So if you guys have any suggestions about what you think would be a great addition to this awesome gym, let me know in the comments. And thanks you guys for watching. Bye.